Hulk Hogan eyes Korea for WWE Hall of Fame before his death, a final mission that's shaking the wrestling world. For nearly 5 decades, the name Hulk Hogan has been synonymous with professional wrestling. From sold-out arenas in the United States to magazine covers, reality shows, and action figures, Hogan wasn't just a superstar. He was the icon of sports entertainment. But now, in the twilight of his life, Hogan isn't looking back. He's looking east. In a bombshell revelation that has stunned both fans and insiders alike, Hulk Hogan is actively pushing for the WWE Hall of Fame to be brought to South Korea before his death. Not a ceremony, not a partnership, a physical institution, brick by brick, dedicated to wrestling history, planted on Korean soil, inspired by a man whose career has been as loud, chaotic, and dramatic as the wrestling industry itself. While many dismissed it at first as the fading dream of a retired legend trying to stay relevant, those closest to Hogan insist he's dead serious. And in an era where WWE is going global like never before, this wild idea might not be as far-fetched as it once seemed. Hogan's latest quest isn't just about cementing his legacy. It's about transformation, redemption, and writing a final chapter that no one, not even Vince McMahon, saw coming. The story begins not in Korea, but in Clearwater, Florida, where a 71-year-old man with multiple back surgeries, a tarnished reputation, and a fire still burning in his chest decided he had one last body slam left. Only this time, it wouldn't be in the ring. It would be on history itself. Hulk Hogan's journey to becoming the face of wrestling is already the stuff of legend. Born Terry Bollea, he was transformed into a larger-than-life character who helped shape the golden era of the WWF. With his 24-inch pythons, handlebar mustache, and explosive charisma, Hogan became a living cartoon hero for millions of children around the world. He sold out Madison Square Garden. He body-slammed Andre the Giant. He crossed into Hollywood and back. He helped launch the NWO and rejuvenated WCW. No one in wrestling had a longer prime, a bigger name, or a louder voice. But fame always comes at a cost. In 2015, Hogan's private comments caught on tape and leaked to the public forced WWE to sever ties with him. He was scrubbed from the Hall of Fame website. His name was removed from merchandise. He became persona non grata, proof that no one, not even wrestling's greatest icon, was above consequences. Though WWE quietly reinstated him in 2018, Hogan's presence remained controversial. He made a few appearances, cut a few promos, and walked a careful line in public. Yet something had shifted. The man who once defined invincibility had become a cautionary tale about hubris, race, and redemption. So why Korea? According to those close to Hogan, the idea first started forming during the COVID-19 pandemic. Isolated and increasingly reflective, Hogan reportedly began watching Korean documentaries and K-dramas. A friend claims it began as casual curiosity. Hogan marveled at the discipline, artistry, and emotional storytelling of Korean cinema. But what started as entertainment became admiration. And then obsession. The way Korea rebuilt itself after war. The rise of K-pop and Korean culture on a global scale. The national pride, the cultural resilience, the work ethic, it all resonated with Hogan, who had always positioned himself as a fighter for honor, tradition, and family values. At some point, Hogan began to view Korea not just as a country, but as a metaphor, a place where a man or a culture could fall and rise again. And that's when the idea came to him. What if the WWE Hall of Fame, the institution that defines wrestling immortality, wasn't just an American shrine? What if it became global? What if it stood in Seoul? Sources say Hogan began discussing the idea in private with old friends and former WWE colleagues. At first, no one took it seriously. Hogan has always been known for bold claims and big dreams. But by late 2024, he wasn't just dreaming. He was calling people, setting meetings, and even talking to investors in Asia. He reportedly reached out to a South Korean tech billionaire who had shown interest in sports entertainment. One Korean media group confirmed that Hogan had a preliminary conversation with a Seoul-based production company about a legacy-driven international wrestling project. Though nothing is official, the gears have started turning. At its core, Hogan's vision is both simple and radical. He doesn't want to remove the WWE Hall of Fame from the US. He wants to expand it. He imagines a Hall of Fame experience in Seoul that's part museum, part training center, part arena. A place that honors legends, trains new talent, and introduces Korean fans to the full, immersive culture of professional wrestling. In his mind, Korea isn't just a backdrop, it's the future. From a business standpoint, the timing couldn't be better. WWE has been expanding its international presence aggressively in recent years. Major events in Saudi Arabia, Germany, Australia, and Puerto Rico have proven the global appetite for wrestling. The WWE Network is available in nearly every country on Earth, and social media has made even mid-card wrestlers household names across continents. But Korea remains a relatively untapped market for WWE. The country is obsessed with combat sports. MMA, boxing, and even arm wrestling have a cult following. Korean fans are passionate, loyal, and increasingly fluent in global entertainment. With K-pop and K-dramas dominating pop culture worldwide, South Korea has become the unofficial capital of cool. WWE wants in, and Hogan might just be the unpredictable bridge. Korean fans, for their part, have reacted with a mix of shock, curiosity, and cautious excitement. Local forums and YouTube channels have begun analyzing Hogan's old matches and character evolution. Some are fascinated by his charisma and ring psychology. Others are put off by his controversies and outdated style. Yet the idea of a WWE Hall of Fame branch in Seoul has sparked genuine buzz. Wrestling has always been about spectacle, and nothing is more spectacular than a foreign icon making a grand return in a country ready to embrace something new. Still, not everyone is convinced. Critics argue that Hogan's sudden fascination with Korea is self-serving, that he's trying to bury a dark past in a foreign spotlight. Others question whether WWE would ever let a single superstar dictate such a bold move, especially one with a complicated history. There's also the political dimension. Any major international installation would require permits, funding, and government cooperation. And while Hogan may have star power, he doesn't have the institutional muscle of WWE's corporate machine. Even inside WWE, reactions are mixed. Some insiders see Hogan's push as a useful marketing tool, something to test international waters. Others worry that attaching such a monumental idea to a polarizing figure could backfire. Hogan is beloved by many, but still a lightning rod. Behind the scenes, Triple H and Nick Khan are reportedly monitoring the situation. They understand the value of international growth. They also understand risk. If the fan response grows strong enough, if Korean interest proves real, they may consider Hogan's vision not just a tribute, but a launchpad. And Hogan? He's not slowing down. He's given several cryptic interviews in recent months hinting at one last legacy move. He's posted Korean symbols on social media, retweeted fan edits from Korean creators, and even referred to himself as Global Hogan in a recent podcast. People are starting to listen. For all the drama, scandals, and missteps in Hogan's career, one thing is undeniable. The man knows how to create a moment. And if this is his final act, he intends for it to be a global main event. In many ways, Hogan's pitch to Korea is about rebirth. For a man who once lost everything, his marriage, his brand, his name, this is more than just another play for attention. This is legacy repair. This is the final promo of a man who refuses to fade quietly. In professional wrestling, the best characters are never purely good or purely evil. They are layered, complicated, and constantly evolving. Hogan has played both hero and villain. Now he wants to be something more, a visionary. Will Korea accept him? Will WWE back him? Will the world even care? No one knows for sure. But if there's one thing Hogan has taught the wrestling world, it's that underestimating him is a mistake. He once told millions of kids to believe in themselves, to fight for what's right, and to never give up. Now, as his own clock ticks down, he's taking his own advice. He's fighting not for championships, not for money, but for a place in history that no scandal can erase. Not in Tampa. Not in New York. in Seoul. And that, brother, might just be the most shocking twist of all. So, what happens next? What's the endgame in Hulk Hogan's high-stakes campaign to bring the WWE Hall of Fame to Korea? The world may still be processing the idea, but Hogan isn't waiting for permission. He's pushing forward like he always has, with unshakable belief in his own power to make the impossible happen. Those closest to Hogan say he's already working on a pitch deck, complete with architectural sketches, sponsorship proposals, and multimedia exhibits. According to a source in Florida familiar with Hogan's inner circle, the vision includes a wrestle world, hybrid museum, and performance space, where fans could walk through holographic exhibits of classic matches, interact with WWE memorabilia, and even step into the ring themselves. He wants it to be bigger than the Hall of Fame in the US, the source said. He's thinking theme park meets time capsule. And he's thinking Korean. Everything from the entrance design to the food courts is envisioned to celebrate Korean culture while honoring wrestling legends. It's not just about bringing the WWE to Korea, Hogan reportedly told a friend. It's about creating something new that respects both worlds. But is the WWE on board? A former WWE executive familiar with international development says the company is watching Hogan's moves very carefully. They're not going to slap the logo on anything without control, but if Hogan generates enough media and public interest, they'd be fools not to explore it. Another factor driving WWE's interest in Korea: competition. Rival wrestling promotions like AEW and NJPW have started making waves internationally. EW, in particular, has courted Japanese and Mexican audiences with more respect and authenticity than WWE's past efforts. WWE knows it must evolve. Expanding the Hall of Fame to Seoul could be its way of signaling that it's ready to embrace a truly global future and that it's no longer chained to the past. That shift toward inclusion, global storytelling, and cultural respect is exactly the shift Hogan seems to be embracing as well. Because, make no mistake, this is personal. People close to Hogan say he's acutely aware of his own mortality. Years of wrestling have left his body ravaged. Multiple surgeries, chronic pain, and years of legal and emotional stress have worn him down. He knows he doesn't have 20 years, one friend said. He might not have 10. This is his final run, his last WrestleMania, and he wants it to count. He also knows that his legacy in the US is complicated. For many fans, he'll always be the man who inspired them to cheer. But for others, especially a new generation, he's tainted by scandal, outdated values, and a failure to properly apologize. A Korean-based WWE Hall of Fame gives Hogan a fresh canvas, a new platform where he can redefine himself not as a comeback artist, but as a builder of bridges between cultures, generations, and wrestling eras. Still, even some of Hogan's supporters question whether this dream is achievable. For one, there's the issue of money. Such a project would require tens of millions in capital, not to mention government cooperation and zoning permissions. It's one thing to imagine it, quite another to build it. Then, there's the WWE's track record. The company has often teased international expansion only to back out at the last minute when costs rise or politics intervene. Could they really commit to something as permanent and symbolic as placing a Hall of Fame outside the US? And even if they did, would Hogan be the right ambassador? Some in the locker room still quietly oppose his full return to prominence. Several wrestlers of color have voiced concerns in the past about Hogan's reinstatement and the lack of a meaningful apology for his past comments. Putting him at the center of a global wrestling monument would stir up a new wave of headlines, some celebratory, others furious. But Hogan isn't blind to that. He knows there will always be those who oppose him. He knows his past is part of his story. But he's betting that Korea, a nation known for rebuilding from ruin, for creating art from pain, for finding beauty in second chances, might be the one place that sees his final dream not as a stunt, but as a statement. And the public is responding. Since the rumors broke, Korean wrestling interest has spiked. Wrestling schools in Seoul and Busan have seen a rise in inquiries. Local sports broadcasters are fielding calls about potential WWE deals. Korean social media influencers have started reposting clips of Hogan from his prime, often with subtitles like, Who is this warrior of America? And can this man bring wrestling to Korea? Even politicians have weighed in. A Seoul City Council member, speaking anonymously, admitted that any plan to bring international sporting attention and tourism to our city will be considered, if there is public support. In other words, Hogan may have planted a seed, and it may be starting to grow. Whether that seed blossoms into a real WWE Hall of Fame in Korea is still up in the air. There are countless logistical, financial, and political barriers that could stop the plan cold.